Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a skill that's being called one of the most important new careers in tech: prompt engineering. Seriously, this is the art and science of talking to AI, and it is creating a huge new wave of opportunity. So, let's dive right in. All right, let's kick things off with a big question that's probably on your mind. Why is everyone talking about this? Well, the answer, in one word, is opportunity. A massive opportunity. And get this, according to Glassdoor, the average base salary for a prompt engineer in the US is already topping $136,000 a year. That's not a typo. We're talking a six-figure salary for a job that you couldn't even put on a resume a few years ago. This isn't just a new gig. It's a whole new lucrative career path opening up. But it's not just about the paycheck. Experts like Dr. Jules White are saying this is a fundamental shift in how we use computers. Think about it. We're moving away from clicking buttons and menus, and we're heading toward a future where we control technology and solve problems just by talking to it. Mastering this new kind of language is becoming absolutely essential. So, what is prompt engineering really? At its heart, it's just the art of crafting really good instructions to guide an AI to give you the best possible result. You should think of yourself less like a coder and more like a very clear, patient director for an incredibly smart actor who takes everything you say literally. Okay, so let's just tackle the biggest myth out there right now. You hear that word engineering, and your brain probably jumps straight to needing a computer science degree, right? Well, that's where this whole thing gets really, really interesting. The most important skill here isn't writing code. It's writing with clarity and intent. It's about knowing how to think logically and, crucially, how to tweak your instructions based on what the AI gives you back. Honestly, if you can write a clear email or explain a complicated idea to a friend, you already have the foundational skills. And the difference between this and traditional programming is huge. With software engineering, you write exact code, and the machine follows exact rules. It's totally deterministic. But prompt engineering, that's all about guided creativity. You're working with an AI that thinks in probabilities, and you're shaping its behavior with language, not commanding it with rigid code. In fact, just look at the skills that really matter for this job: clear writing, thinking in a structured way, being curious, and being okay with trying things over and over. These are not just for tech people. These are skills that marketers, teachers, journalists, designers, they use them every single day. The door to this field is wide open to so many different kinds of people. Okay, so you don't need to be a coder, but you do need to understand a few key concepts. Think of it as the basic toolkit for talking to an AI. Let's break them down real quick. First up, we've got tokens. The easiest way to think about these is like the Lego bricks of language for an AI. It could be a whole word, part of a word, or even just a comma. So why does this matter? Well, because every AI has a token limit. Basically a cap on how much text it can handle at once, which includes both your prompt and its answer. It's kind of like the AI's short-term memory. Next is temperature, which you might also see called creativity. This is one of my favorites. It's like a creativity dial on the AI. If you want a straight-up, factual, predictable answer, like, say, summarizing a boring report, you turn that temperature way down low. But if you want it to write a wild poem or brainstorm some crazy ideas, you crank that dial way up high. It's a super powerful lever for controlling the output. Now this one is a big one: hallucinations. This is what we call it when an AI just makes stuff up. It'll generate an answer that sounds totally confident and coherent, but it's factually wrong. Remember, an AI is a pattern matching machine, not a fact checker. So the golden rule here is to always double check any important information it gives you, especially names, dates, or stats. All right, let's talk techniques. The most basic type of prompt is called a zero-shot prompt. This is where you just give the AI an instruction with 0 examples. Here, we're just asking it to classify a sentence's sentiment. The AI figures it out based on all the data it was trained on. It's simple and it works great for straightforward tasks. But to get much more accurate and structured results, you want to use what's called a few-shot prompt. Here, instead of just telling the AI what to do, you show it. You give it a few examples of exactly the input and output pattern you want it to follow. This one simple trick, showing, not just telling, is one of the most powerful things you can do to get better results. It improves accuracy like crazy. So how do you put all this together to write a great prompt every single time? Well, luckily, there's a simple, repeatable framework you can use. It's called STAR, and it's basically your checklist for success. CoStar is just an acronym for the 6 key things a perfect prompt needs. You give it context, so the AI knows the backstory. You state your objective, what you actually want it to do. You define the style and tone, how it should sound. You specify the audience, who the response is for. And finally, you tell it the response format you want, like a list or a table or an email. And just look at the power of that very first letter, C for context. On the left, a super simple prompt, write a thank you message, gets you, well, a pretty bland generic template, right? But on the right, look what happens when we add context that a colleague covered for you during a tough time. The AI generates a response that is specific, empathetic, and actually useful. It's a night and day difference. And that's just with context. Imagine layering on the rest of CoStar. Now, learning these techniques is one thing, but how do you prove to someone that you can actually do it? In a field this new, a portfolio isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. Look, a resume can say you know prompt engineering, but a portfolio actually proves it. It lets you show your problem-solving process, demonstrate the real-world results you can get. It's what's going to make you stand out from the crowd and show a hiring manager your concrete value. And the best part is you don't need a job to start building one. You can just pick projects that seem interesting to you. For example, you could take an existing chatbot and work on improving its answers, or try to generate better marketing slogans. You could even tackle really practical problems, like pulling data out of messy emails or turning your class notes into a pop quiz. Here is a perfect example of a portfolio project. The goal here is to pull structured data out of an unstructured block of text, like this job posting. Using a few-shot prompt, you can teach the AI exactly how to find the key details, like the job title, the company, the salary, and organize them neatly. This is a real-world task that saves a ton of time and clearly shows you know what you're doing. And the reward for building up and proving these skills, it's significant. Your earning potential grows really fast. You start out strong, near 6 figures, and then with just a few years of experience, that number just keeps climbing. The career path is pretty clear and it's very compelling. So, at the end of the day, this isn't just about learning some new tech. It's about learning how to communicate with it, how to direct it, and how to unlock its incredible potential. AI is one of the most powerful tools ever created. The real question is, are you ready to be the one who guides it?